Sarvadhitam Srinandanandanam Vande Shradhakacharanadayam Nityansamayuktam Vrindavanam Shri Gauram Shri Advaita Chandra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Jai
Jai Jai Shri Radhe. This is Radhik Mass class 2026. And, we're reading, this is called Manjari Nectar Katha. And we're reading some stuff here about how the sadhaka enters Prakat Lila. Is the body material or spiritual? What's Prakat Lila, first of all?
Manifest pastimes of Radharani and Krishna in this world.
Yeah. It's Prakat means visible. Visible. In other words, 5,000 years ago, Krishna was here in this land of Vrindavan. And he killed Kamsi, danced with the gopis and all the pastimes described in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. That's called Prakat, manifest. But simultaneously, in Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual sky, Krishna is also having eternal pastimes. What are they called?
Aprakat Lila.
Aprakat Lila. They're not manifested to us here. So, when one's individual siddha when one is fully realized at the level of Krishna Prema, one's individual siddha is fully seen and realized at the level of Prema. Before a sadhaka dies and is reborn in Boma Vrindavan or Prakat Lila. What is that new body made of when you take birth in Krishna Lila? What is it made of?
It's made of bhav.
Oh, you want to?
Well, the fact that it's born implies that it's material, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's material.
Yeah, like Krishna birth.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so here's the answer. That new body is 100% made of 100% spiritual emotions. It's called a Bhav Deha. But before, in the material world, the sadhaka has a material body, and he or she is the soul. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am a spiritual particle in a material body. But there, when you take birth in Krishna Lila, in the material world, your body is not different from your soul. You are the body, and the body is made of bhava. My Guru Maharaj said, to my knowledge, this Bhav Deha is the medium stage Bhav Deha. When you finally go to Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual sky, enter Aprakat Lila, then you'll have a Mahabhav Deha. That's interesting. So Chota Bhav. A big Bhav, Mahabhav. So, this is a repeat. Anyway, it's good to repeat because you probably forgot what I said. This is the Guru's role in the Siddha Deha. Because it's important that we're opening with this, because we're going to describe a concept of getting a Siddha Deha in a dream, and this is a very big point of but misunderstood point. But this point about dream, first we'll describe the Guru's role in Siddha Deha. There's too much feedback. I think treble is too high. The volume is okay, the treble is too high. No treble and bass. High and low. Sweet. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So Bhakti Sundarbha Jiva Goswami says in verse 312, which we quoted yesterday, This is a quotation of the verse. While chanting and meditating on the Gopal mantra, which is the Diksha mantra, I should meditate upon Krishna playing and tending the cows. I should meditate to attain my desired perfection. I should meditate on the form of that rich basi that my Guru Dev has instructed me in. That particular rich basi, which means my Siddha. Because basically in IGM, when I say IGM, this is called an acronym. Acronym means an abbreviation for something larger. It's called acronym. Acronym IGM means, like we say IBM. IBM means International Business and Machines. That's called acronym, IGM. Or STD or STP on certain diseases and so. So IGM means ISKCON Gaudiya. So we answer them because they say you chant Harinam, all you need is Harinam, and you'll get your Siddha. So yes, Harinam alone has the power and can reveal everything about your Siddha. However, I would rather follow the teachings of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas on the role of the Guru in the process of Siddha Pranali. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, part 6, chapter 5, which I quoted before, another part, same note. When the sadhaka's lobha, greed, awakens for Ragnuga Bhakti, when it approaches the Gurudev for instruction, the Guru examines the disciple's taste and attraction, and then he devises an appropriate bhajan to introduce them to their Siddha Deha. Also in Harinam Chintamani, chapter 15, verse 65 through 88, and especially 81 through 88, it says there, quote, verse, or what the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the Guru gives the disciple 11 Ekadashbhav in order to meditate, enter Krishna Lila. So along with chanting Hare Krishna, because when people in IGM, they ask the Guru, how do I get understanding of my Siddha? He says, just chant Hare Krishna. I say, okay, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. How will I get my Siddha? They usually say you'll get it in a dream. And they cite a reference from Uchu the Nilamani, which we're going to describe. Very important to understand this verse. So when we're asked the question, can you get your Siddha in a dream? The answer is yes. And the prominent member of ISKCON that got his Siddha in a dream is Indra Das. He had some dream that probably came to him and gave him his Siddha. So that was okay. That happened and we accept that. So because Vedanta Sutra, which is also called Brahma Sutra, says sometimes dreams reveal things. You can receive medicines in a dream, you can receive mantras in a dream. Sometimes you can see your Guru in a dream, you see Krishna. You get instructions in a dream. So dreams can be real. The Vedanta Sutra says dreams can be real. They can not be real also. So when you get a dream, like I told a famous story, a guy in Delhi, he said, I'm having many dreams about you. I was initiated. And you're giving me instructions in the dream, because the guy likes to drink. He said, you're telling me it's okay to drink whiskey and wine and do bhajan. I said, oh, because so when I was in Mayapur, Jagannath-puri for the summer, for 2 months, I came back, I stopped in Delhi Temple and gave a couple lectures and came back to Vrindavan. He met me and told me about these dreams. He was so happy to get so much instruction in dreams. I forget those dreams. I'm sitting right in front of you. don't drink, don't smoke, don't gamble. Be vegetarian. Stop dreaming. You're dreaming too much. Swapna shiksha. I'll give you sakshat shiksha, direct. SS or SS. Sakshat, direct shiksha. Follow the four regular principles, chant 16 rounds a day, and see what happens. So the answer is yes, it's possible in a dream to get Siddha. Well, let's look at the verse from Ujjvala Mani and describe about that, have some discussion. But I discussed this verse with my guru, the teacher. IGM cites the Ujjvala Mani verse, chapter 3, verse 49 through 51, and especially Vishwanath Chakravarti's Tika. They cite this verse to prove, this is a very big verse for them, so we'll try to give some light on that, to prove that without Siddha Pranali, the devotee can receive his individual, his or her individual spiritual form from Krishna in a dream. The idea of Krishna doing anything and can give if he wants to. However, the Praman cited to establish the point is wrong, based on Vishwanath's verse. It's wrong, and I'll explain why it's wrong. So this will stir up controversy, which I like. So the verse is here. This I said is, what I say, verse 51? 49 through 51, chapter 3. The section is called Individual Attainment. Those persons who have great attachment for Madhurya Rati and are absorbed in Raganuga Bhakti are born in Vrindavan. And so, the recent devotees are born in Braj after taking birth as humans or devatas or whatever. So basically, the verse itself just says, those that are absorbed in Raganuga Bhakti and following Madhurya Rati and have great attachment are born in Braj. Krishna has a very long commentary, 1, 2, 3 pages commentary. First point that my guru made is this verse is very unclear. The verse itself doesn't say anything about dream or anything like that, anything about Siddha. Only Vishwanath Chakravarti says that, and because it says the devotees are born in Braj after taking birth as humans or devatas. So only Vishwanath Chakravarti is the only acharya to say the first to bring bhakti that attains perfection has to take birth in Vrindavan and then the spiritual world. No other acharya comments on this point in this verse. In other words, you do bhakti bhajan, you attain nishtha, you attain ruchi, you attain asakti, you attain bhav, you attain prem. That's called perfection. That's called sadhana, what?
Siddha.
Sadhana siddha. You attain perfection or sadhana. And then you go right to Britain, you go right to the spiritual world. That's what every acharya says. That's what the Bhagavatam says. Shyamabhas Naradamuni and so many others. But Vishnu is the only acharya in the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Although this is also the modern, contemporary, acceptable viewpoint. He says what?
Take birth in Vrindavan and
Really quiet. What does he say?
Once when attains prema, he will take birth in Prakat Leela.
When one attains prema, one will take birth in the material world, Vrindavan, in the earth planet where Krishna's Vrindavan Leela is manifest. Not go directly to Goloka Vrindavan. The Rupa Goswami Snan, everyone says, straight there. So whether you're born in Braj or the spiritual world, this verse is not very clear. Now let's get into the commentary of Vishnu. which is basically correctly translated. If one practices Raganuga Bhakti and attains Braja Prema, after going through the stages of Nishruchi and Sakti, they become qualified to serve Krishna. But since it's impossible for the transformations beyond prema, such as sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, madhava, to appear in the body of a sadhaka, premi sadhaka, by the power of associating in gopi with gopis, nitya gopis who have Mahabhav in the Lord Vrindavan, then by seeing and hearing, remembering and chanting about them, then they will attain that qualification position after they die, and they'll go to the spiritual world. Thus, by Yoga Maya, devotees have developed prema at the time Krishna manifests in Vrindavan in this world. They will enter the earthly Vrindavan. Next page, key point. Devotees who have great longing for direct service and who have developed prema after intense and constant Raganuga sadhana. The merciful Krishna one time will directly show himself and his devotees, even to a person in a sadhaka body in a dream. Then he will give that person a spiritual body, as he gave to Narada. And that person will appear in the manifest pastime. So let's look at the analysis of this verse. My teacher said. Okay, Chika, the devotee longing for direct seva of Krishna for a long time, who has developed prema after intense Raganuga Bhakti, the merciful Krishna one time directly gives darshan along with his associate, even though the sadhaka has not developed sneha and other higher levels of prema. Krishna gives a gopi Deha as he gave a spiritual body to Narada. In Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 6, verse 29. Then the devotee dies and born in Prakat Lila, the material world, and develops sneha, prana, etc. So the prerequisite to this type of dream to happen is attaining Krishna prema first. So this verse actually, but is this really a dream?
No.
It's not a dream.
It's Spurti.
Because I don't know the exact translation whether Vishnu says dream or not. But my Gurudev is saying this. Is this actually a dream? This verse actually describes, this verse of the Ujjalanamani actually describes a brief period, just before dying. A sadhana siddha has prema receives a dream of Krishna's parishad against his eternal siddha and dies and goes to Prakalila. But this is not really a dream. The sadhana siddha, Krishna is actually giving you your eternal siddha. That's why Vishnu mentions Radharani. He said, the sadhaka who has prema, Krishna at the time of death will give him siddha like Radharani. So how is Radharani described as getting siddha? Does it say dream?
No.
Doesn't say dream. He said he directly gave up his material body and received a siddha given to him by Vishnu. So this verse does not support the idea that Krishna gives siddha in a dream. Everyone, with the attain prema you get, because in the Sandarbha, Shiva Goswami says, if you come to Bhava Bhakti, you have the eligibility at darshan of Krishna. Way before prema, you're not even have Krishna prema. You come to Bhava Bhakti, now you're eligible, you're qualified. The adhikar to see Krishna. That's called Spurti Vispurti, and Sakshatkar Darshan. The definite in time frame, everyone sees God. Like they say, I saw the light. We see the blue light. Krishna, he pulls it, and we see his smile and everything else. So it's not really a dream. Krishna is actually giving your Siddha, just as Vishnu brought and gave his Siddha at death in the same way. Raghavardhan and Chandrika, which is also by Vishnu and Radharani, more is told about the need for birth in Prakriti. We cannot use this verse to prove receiving Siddha by dream. When a sadhaka has developed prema, he or she knows who they are by the mercy of Sri Guru. And then the sadhaka can help experience, and the sadhaka can experience such a revelation where Krishna reveals himself. In IGM, so many devotees are averse and against the process of the Guru revealing the Siddha and the proper bhav. They want the Siddha revealed by Krishna himself in a dream. They want that, they have no other recourse, actually. There's no Guru gives Siddha. My Guru said, I hope they do. I wish them all the best. In other words, my Guru is saying, I hope they have a dream. I wish them all the best. However, I'm very fallen, and I prefer to follow the process that Sri Guru reveals us to the Deha. Without the mercy of Sri Guru, it's not possible for me to develop prema by intense and constant ragnuga sadhana, which is what Vishnu says. After intense
And
constant ragnuga sadhana, Krishna makes you give a dream. I prefer to follow the concept of Yasya Prasad, Bhagavad Prasad, and Bhagavad Gita, Tavadi Pranipatena,
Pariprasnena sevaya, Padekshanti te jnanam jnanina sattvadarshina.
So the Guru has seen the truth and he can reveal the truth to the disciple. And verse 312 of Bhakti Sandarbha, while saying it, and you repeat that verse. I would rather follow the teaching of the Acharyas in regards to following the method where Sri Guru and Sri knowing fully well that Sri Krishna, that Sri Krishna chanting holy name can reveal everything to me. Just like Bhakti, now you added this, just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, and I already recited those references. The Guru introduces the Shishya to his own Siddha and tells Vaikadashva. Harinam Chintamani, chapter 15, 81 through 83. By constantly remembering your Swarup, by remembering Swarup Sriti of one's Siddha Swarup, Samadhi is invoked. It's called Bhavapana Das. So I follow the ways of the previous acharyas, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who took Sirpanali Diksha from who? His Guru. His Guru is Nanakishore Goswami. He's the Guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Prema Bhakti Chandrika says in verse 55 through 56, whatever you meditate upon during your sadhana and seva the Radha Krishna, that you will attain perfection, you'll attain that perfection you get when you attain prema. And Krishna Karnamrita commentary on verse number 2, Krishna Kaviraj says, a Raganuga sadhana who has not yet attained Bhav should mentally conceive the desired Siddha and serve Radha Krishna in it. When Bhav appears, that Siddha will be seen automatically. Don't have to get a dream. Because even to get the dream, according to Vishnu, they have to come to prema. But you do just meditate your Siddha, you come to Bhav, you'll see it. Here's the question. Can you meditate on your Siddha Deha? Can you meditate on manjari Sru at the beginning of sadhana bhakti? What's the answer?
Yes.
So two choices. Yes or no. This is described in Rag Vardhana Chandrika by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And it's Rag Vardhana Chandrika. It's available in English with commentaries by Anantadas Babaji also. You probably download it on ISKCON.
Internet.
Internet. Just type in Rag Vardhana Chandrika free PDF. Probably find it. So the answer is yes, and already said, on the path of Raganuga Bhakti, a sadhaka without bhava can still meditate and think of their own desired, created, manufactured Siddha Deha. He says, Parikalpya. In the Sanskrit commentary on verse number 2 of Krishna Karamrita, he says, Jatarati Swayam. No, he says Jatarati Swayam. He says meditate on your parikalpya. Parikalpya in Sanskrit means what you desire, what you create, what you design, what you manufacture. So just write on a piece of paper. My name, Navadasi. My skin tone, golden. My sorry, white with polka dots. My ornaments, gold, lots of it. My seva, brushing hair. My kunja, my uteshri, vishaka, etc. And start meditating. That's called parikalpya. Jatarati Swayam. When rati or bhav appears, that siddha will be Jatarati Swayam Tadeya Swarti. Tadeya, that body, Deha, Swarti, seen, visible, directly. Swayam means directly. Jata means Janma, means born, appear, manifest at Rati. When Rati manifests, you directly see that body. Don't need any dream, just need eyes. When it was not well, this is a nice quotation from Prabhupada. I don't know why it's second here, but it's second here. From Mayapur, Chaitanya Charitamrita, April 6, 1975, Srila Prabhupada said, one who is not spreading Krishna consciousness and preaching, but is cultivating Krishna consciousness for their own personal benefit in a secluded place, sitting and chanting, that is also nice. Okay, guys, write it down. 750-406 CC, full stop, MAY. If you're not preaching, you're a Maya. Selling books. Oh, it's also possible. Sit in a secluded place, chant Hare Krishna for your personal benefit. Everybody else go to hell. Okay, bye. It's okay. Baba's doing it. He looks happy. He doesn't look too worried about it.
I don't want anybody to go to hell.
No, we don't. That's cool. They're already there. So don't worry.
Actually, it's a little hotter here.
So hotter than that one. Yeah. I asked my guru once, "What's the best possible bhajan I should do, should do, would do, if I could do?" Which I can't do. He said, "Stay alone. Chant 1 lakh or more of Nam. And always meditate on your Guru-given manjari Sru. Inside Radha Krishna Askala, That's the best for all life. Bhajan for whole life. Okay, thank you. Any second option? Any second option? Anyway, that's it, man. Take your V's and run. Why do I not have any success? Why am I'm not getting success even though I'm doing bhajan? Do you think, why doesn't this process of bhakti bhajan work? Remember how Radhika once approached Rupa Goswami when he was performing a Leela fasting till death. I don't know where this is, maybe in Bhakti Ratnakar, I'm not sure, but this is true. Rupa Goswami was once fasting till death because Radha did not appear to him. So Radharani came to Rupa Goswami and said, Baba, you should eat. Why are you saying that you got no mercy? This is what Radharani said to Rupa Goswami. You're living in Vrindavan Dham, aren't you? Actually, the same thing was told directly to me by Ramesh Baba, who is popularly known as Baba Shri. He stays at Mankutir in Varsana for the last 70 years, or maybe longer, 80, long time. He's about 90 years old now. I saw him after living in Vrindavan for about 25 years. I went to meet him one time in Varsana at Mankutir. I said, Baba, please give me your mercy. He said, why are you asking for mercy? I said, because you're a famous Siddha Mahatma of Vrindavan, and many people say that, and you're very rasic and full of love. And he laughed. He said, what are you talking about? People are saying like that, but do you see any tears in my eyes? Do you see me trembling? Do you see my hairs, my sika standing on end? I'm not a Siddha. Why? So what kind of mercy I can give you? He said, where do you live? I said, I live in Radhakund. He said, how long have you lived here? I said, 25 years. He laughed. Forget it, you already got the mercy. You're already living in Vrindavan. Just do your bhajan. He said, what is this, Rasi reversing? He's so humble, it's so amazing. So Radharani said to Rupa Goswami, so what are you fasting for? Start eating, Baba. Why are you saying you got no mercy living in Vrindavan? Maharaj told the same thing to Raghunath Das Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 16, verse 237. Stira hana krame paya loka bhava sindhu kul. Maharaj said, be patient, Raghunath. Gradually, by and by, you will reach the other shore, the bank, the kula. Kula means bank, shore, family, etc. You'll reach the other shore of the ocean of birth and death. Krame means dire. Stirana, be steady. Just do bhakti. You'll cross over, don't worry. Don't be impatient. Be enthusiastic, not impatient. Rupa Goswami says, and that's what he's saying, Upadeshamrita. Darya, what does Darya mean? Patient, be patient, don't be crazy. Too crazy. Be crazy to be patient. is Manasi Seva and Leela Smaran Kalpana. This is not a criticism of IGM. You see, you guys are just doing Kalpana. You're just imagining. I'm imagining I'm so-and-so dasi, this is my Seva. So is it Kalpana? The practice of imagining one's desired Siddha is technically a rajasic practice. It will never result in spiritual realization. This is the criticism. Meditation on, here's my answer. Meditation on Siddha is not imagination. Krishna's Kaviraj confirms this in Shrangaranga Datika, verse number 2 of Krishna Karnamrita. On the Raganuga path of Raganuga sadhana bhakti, the sadhaka who has not attained the stage of rati, bhava, may still think of their own desired siddha. Anutpana rati, siddha deham manasi parikalpya. So he's saying that it's not imagination, it's not kalpana, it's not imagination, it's desire, it's a practice, you should do it. Yeah, because in bhava you see it, but how do you get to bhava? By practice. The practice is Leela Smaran. Praying Bhakti Chandrika, Narottam Das Thakur directly says that think of our Siddha day and night. Chaitanya Chaitanya. Okay. Are you nervous? Okay. Some of these points are repeated. Sorry for that, you can go to sleep now. This is chanting the mantra and manjari bhav. This is 3 places in my notebook. Page 181, 128, and now 247. Manjari bhav sadhaka chanting mantra. We'll be thinking that all the words indicate who? Okay. There, my notebook says Krishna. All the words Hare, Krishna, Ram indicate Krishna's form, Leela. And we're chanting with the mood of soothing Swamini. Who is Swamini? Radharani. In times of separation and in times of union, we're trying to stimulate and excite Swamini. There's a question, if we're chanting Manasi Japa, how does Radharani hear and be served by my chanting? That's Radharani will hear our chanting in any form, mental or vocally. Radharani is not limited to any dimension of sound. Is it that as a sadhaka we chant Manasi, okay, I got to understand the question. As a sadhaka, do we chant manasik japa with the idea that, Radharani separation, all that stuff? And when we consider Manjari Leela, directly with Radha Govinda, we chant audibly for Krishna, for Radha's pleasure. And Guruji said, yes, with this idea we should chant Manasik Japa. Yes, in Leela, when we're directly with Radha Govinda, we'll chant audibly, but we won't necessarily chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We'll just chant Leela Katha. It's called, what's it called? Very good. It's called Ras Udgar. Udgar means awaken, rise up, Udgar, to remind Radharani of Leelas. So we're chanting about Krishna Leela when Radharani's in separation or in union. The spiritual realm is already a non-material dimension beyond air and ether and sound. Everything in the spiritual dimension is really internal, intangible to material-minded senses anyway. Okay, so in Prem Bhakti Chandrika, verse 51, Narottam Das Thakur said, don't become attached to having equal affection for Radha and Krishna, or more affection for Krishna. I will only speak about preference for Radharani. So there's a guy in that team over there. That's good. Of course, it doesn't mean we reject Krishna. We don't reject Krishna. The manjari's mood or feeling is what?
Radha's name.
You didn't read my notes this evening. The manjari's feeling, Radha Sneha Adhika, more affection for Radharani. The manjari's mood of feeling, Radha Sneha Adhika, ultimately returns to Krishna. Because if one manjari pleases Radharani, automatically Krishna is pleased. Manjari Baba Upasakas are also Yugal Upasakas, worshippers of the complete divine couple, Yugal. What time is it now?
46.
46. Okay, here's some dialogue that of my teacher. Raghunath Das Goswami describes two views of a manjari. One time, Raghunath Das Goswami described the Mahamantra all means Krishna for the pleasure of Radharani. But Raghunath Das also praised in one poem called Svabishta Suchana in Stavali. He says, Radheti Nama Nama Sundar Krishneti Nama Madhura Bhuta. Krishna Nama is beautiful. Radharani's name is beautiful and fresh nectar. But Krishna's name is condensed milk. Which seems to glorify Radha and Krishna Nam together. That's what I asked my teacher. But you said the Mahamantra is all about Krishna. But Raghunath Das, one place Raghunath Das gives a meaning of the Mahamantra all about Krishna. And if you want a Radharani chanting Mahamantra, oh Krishna, oh Ram. And then he writes in his Samavali that you should chant the names together, Radha's name and Krishna's name. So what gives here? What's it all about? Who's answering? Raghunath Das Goswami is writing from different levels, external and internal. Vayavesh and Antarvesh. Just to confuse it a little bit. In the Maha Mantra Vakya, where he's describing the meaning of the Maha Mantra, this is if indeed it's his, this is on the internal level of pure Manjari Bhav. But this verse I just read, that combining Radha Krishna's name, is on the external level. This verse actually is like an instruction to the mind to discipline it and chastise his tongue for saying, "Hey, you stupid tongue, why are you eating? Why are you speaking? You should just taste the nectar of Radha Krishna's name instead of tasty food." So the verse, in other words, it's understanding the verse. The verse is saying, externally the verse is saying that Radharani's name is like beautiful nectar and Krishna's name is like condensed milk. So you should chant together. But he's actually talking about you should relish, you shouldn't control your tongue. Don't taste tasty food. You should taste the name of Krishna, taste the name of Radharani. Anyway, that's why you have to have a teacher, because things are pretty confusing. Maybe more confusing. Meditation, chanting japa, and Siddha. So, what should we think about when we chant the Maha Mantra? This is what we should think. We should meditate on Radha Krishna's pastime. But to start with, we have to have the ahamta. Ahamta means the identification. I am sitting and meditating. If I go deeper, I will lose my self-esteem and merge in the Leela. Harina must descend upon your spiritual identity. While chanting japa, once you perform all sadhana with a service attitude, must always be in the background. Just like a greedy businessman is not always thinking, I'm so greedy. He just acts according to his desires without thinking about it. Similarly, a devotee works only for Krishna's pleasure and thinks only of that. In the beginning, one thinks, I will do sadhana by the grace of my Guru. But after a while, you start identifying with your manjari. But after you start identifying with your manjari swarup, some people criticize that you're practicing manjari bhav, but you still have material desires and a material job, but you're always teaching that it's a gradual process whereby the material and spiritual awareness more or less overlap one another. This is described very clearly in Madhurya Kadambini. Madhurya Kadambini by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, especially with the commentaries of Anandas, describe how as spirituality increases, materiality decreases. The more we become spiritual, the less we identify with the body and everything. So they're like that. As spiritual awareness increases, so the idea of a body and all that. So it's One person challenged, Manjari Bhav Sadhana doesn't exist. Then I asked this my teacher. Because this Rajyam argues. There's nowhere written about Manjari Bhav Sadhana, but it's evolved through the Sampradaya. So then my teacher said, that means all the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya who are practicing Manjari Bhav Sadhana is wrong, and only you are right. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Maharaj says in Madhya Lila chapter 9, verse 187, Satyavastu Sadnavina. Satyavastu Sadnavina. Without, Vina means without. Without sadhana, you can't attain the reality of the goal. Satya means goal. Vastu means reality, substance, like reality. You can't attain the reality of prema without doing sadhana. No one attains one's desired goal, sadhya, without doing sadhana. So how will you attain siddhi in anything without doing proper sadhana? Vishnu Chakravarti describes Manjari Bhav Sadhana in his commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Part 1, chapter 2, verse 295. Sadhaka.
sevas rupena
Seva Sadhaka Siddha Shatri. That's the verse where Rupa Goswami says, Raghunav Bhakti means serving in your siddha and serving in your sadhaka deha. In the commentary by Vishnu elaborates on that. He says, serving with your siddha means mentally serving, service done by following the example and sevas and babas of Radharani, the leader of Shakti, Rati Manjari, Rupa Manjari, and others. Then here's a challenge. The practice of Manjari Bhav Sadhana is not described in the main books about Sri Chaitanya because it does not exist. Reply. Due to its confidential nature, it is not described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. However, if it is not important or quote doesn't exist, then acharyas would have not described it. But they do describe Manjari Bhav Sadhana in a few books. Ujjala Mani, Radha Krishna Ganadesh Deepika, Sankalpa Kalpachuma, Ujjala Kavalali, Prem Bhakti Chandrika, Govinda Lila Amrita, Krishna Bhavanamrita, Vrindavan Mahimamrita, Radha Rasunidhi, Vila Krishnandri, Samava and Savamal. They all describe Manjari Bhav Sadhana. Here's another challenge. Raganuga Bhakti can't be taught or practiced until it arises spontaneously from Nam Sadhana and Vaidhi Bhakti. What's the answer?
Gopal.
The answer is there's two types of sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi sadhana and Raganuga Bhakti. There are two parallel paths of sadhana that both can start from day one. You can practice Raganuga sadhana from day one to Vaidhi sadhana. That's described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first part, chapter 2, verse 5. It does not arise, Raganuga Bhakti does not arise from Vaidhi Bhakti. You practice Vaidhi Bhakti for 20 years, all of a sudden you start practicing Raganuga. It doesn't exist. There's a huge society with thousands, hundreds of thousands of people practicing Vaidhi Bhakti, and no one has any idea of Raganuga Bhakti, any interest, or any greed to follow. It does not arise from, that's they say that it can't be taught, but it is taught, it is practiced from the beginning. It does not arise spontaneously. But it's a proof, ISKCON. There's millions of followers for practicing for 30 years, 40 years, no inclination or understanding. There are two separate independent paths of sadhana bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti is one type of sadhana bhakti, and Vaidhi Bhakti is another type. Challenge. Raganuga Bhakti can only start due to intense greed for attaining Krishna, which appears due to many lifetimes of practicing Nam and sadhana bhakti. Response. The word intense greed and many lifetimes is not described in any shastra. There is no quantitative difference mentioned between Vedic sadhana and Raganuga Bhakti anywhere. Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath agree that lobha is the starting point. Jiva Goswami in Nectar Ocean Commentary says, Yat kincha lobha means a little, a pinprick of greed to follow Vrishvasi is the starting point of Raga Bhakti. Quantitative means not quantitative means measurable. There's no quantitative difference mentioned. It's not a blazing fire at first instant. What time is it? I think it's time.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. She's like 12 o'clock to me. I think tomorrow will be the last class. Have to make us one. Not make up, but this notebook is finished. You're finished also. Okay, let's continue tomorrow. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.